Welcome to Relaxed Reddit Readings. Today we have 4 Reddit stories for you. Reddit stories that will make your jaw drop. Story 1. My mom asked me to attend her college classes while she travels. So my mom just asked me to basically become her for the next few weeks, and I honestly don't know what planet she's living on. Let me explain this absolute madness. Monday afternoon, my mom casually mentions she's leaving the country on Thursday. Cool, have a nice trip, right? Wrong. Wednesday at 4 p.m., she drops this bombshell on me. She wants me to do her schoolwork while she's gone. Not just like, turn in an assignment or two. We're talking full-on identity theft here. She wants me to log into her classes, attend them for her, pretend to be her for around 40 hours total. 40 hours. I told her absolutely not because, hello, I'm not comfortable doing someone else's schoolwork or pretending to be someone I'm not. That's called academic fraud, Mom. But apparently, I'm the unreasonable one here. She starts going off about how I never help her with anything, how she's always supported me, the whole guilt trip playbook. Then she brings up every favor she's ever done for me, like that somehow means I owe her my participation in academic dishonesty. I tried explaining that this could get both of us in serious trouble. Like, expelled kind of trouble. Career-ruining kind of trouble. But she just keeps saying it's no big deal, that lots of people do this kind of thing. Do they though? Am I living in some alternate reality where impersonating someone in college classes is normal? The kicker is that she had weeks to figure this out. She could have talked to her professors, arranged to take the classes online, or I don't know, maybe not planned an international trip during the middle of her semester. But no, her solution is to turn her child into her academic body double. She's been giving me the silent treatment since I said no, and other family members are starting to weigh in. Some are saying I should just help her out because family helps family. Others are saying what she's asking is completely inappropriate. I keep going back and forth in my head. Part of me feels guilty because she is my mom and she has helped me out before. But another part of me knows this crosses a major line. This isn't helping her move furniture or lending her money. This is asking me to commit fraud on her behalf. And what happens if I get caught? What happens to my own education, my own future? She seems to think this is just a small favor, but it feels huge to me. The whole thing has me questioning our entire relationship honestly. Is this the kind of thing normal parents ask their kids to do? Am I being a terrible daughter for refusing to help her? If you're enjoying these stories, hit that like button and let me know in the comments which story you relate to the most. Story 2. My mother-in-law ruined my birth plan during labor. So my mother-in-law just completely destroyed what was supposed to be one of the most important moments of my life, and I'm still processing the whole thing. My son and daughter-in-law have been staying with me because their house got flooded when a fire hydrant broke. The whole street was a mess, and their place needs major repairs, so of course I said they could stay here while contractors fix everything. Now, my daughter-in-law is due to give birth any day now, and she had this very specific birth plan. She wanted it to be just her and my son in the delivery room, which I totally understood and respected. It's their moment, their baby, their choice. But apparently, I made a huge mistake without realizing it. The thing is, I have this ring that's been in our family for generations. My grandmother gave it to my mother gave it to me, and I always planned to give it to my son's wife when the time was right. I thought the birth of their first child would be the perfect time for this tradition to continue. So I went to the hospital to surprise them with the ring. I was so excited to share this family moment and give her something that meant so much to our family's history. But when I got there and tried to go into the delivery room, all hell broke loose. My daughter-in-law completely freaked out. Started yelling at me to get out, saying I was ruining everything, that this wasn't what she wanted. The nurses had to escort me out, and I could hear her crying and screaming from the hallway. I was mortified. I never meant to upset anyone, especially not during labor. I was just trying to do something meaningful and include her in our family tradition. But apparently, by showing up unannounced, I completely destroyed her birth plan and caused her a ton of stress during what was already an intense time. My son came out later and he was furious with me. Said I should have known better, should have respected their wishes, should have waited until after the birth. He said I made one of the most important days of their lives about me instead of about them. I tried explaining about the ring, about the family tradition, about how I just wanted to welcome her properly into our family. But he said that didn't matter, that I still violated their boundaries and caused unnecessary drama during labor. Now my daughter-in-law won't speak to me, and my son is barely talking to me either. The baby was born healthy, thank goodness, but I haven't even been able to properly meet my grandchild because of all this tension. I feel terrible that I caused them stress during such an important time, but I also feel like my intentions were good. I wasn't trying to intrude or make it about me. I genuinely thought I was doing something special and meaningful. Was I really that wrong to want to share this family tradition? Story 3. My daughter-in-law won't stop crying over everything. So my daughter-in-law just broke down in tears again, and honestly, I'm at my wit's end with this whole situation. Let me paint you a picture of what I'm dealing with here. My daughter-in-law is what you might call an extremely sensitive person. And I mean extremely. We're talking about someone who will burst into tears at basically any pushback or even slightly rude comment. It's gotten to the point where you can't have a normal conversation with her without walking on eggshells. Here's a perfect example of what I mean. She has this habit of not taking her shoes off when she comes into people's homes. About a year ago, she was literally tracking mud all through my house, and I told her to take her shoes off. That's it. Just a simple request that most people would consider basic courtesy. But did she just say okay and take off her shoes? Of course not. She immediately started crying, saying I was being mean to her and that she didn't know it was such a big deal. I ended up looking like some kind of monster for asking someone not to track dirt through my house. This kind of thing happens constantly. Anytime anyone tries to address anything with her, even the most minor issues, she turns on the waterworks and suddenly you're the bad guy for making her cry. It's incredibly manipulative, whether she's doing it on purpose or not. The latest incident happened at a family gathering. We were all sitting around talking, and somehow the conversation turned to weight and dieting. My son made some comment about how his wife had been eating a lot of junk food lately and maybe she should cut back. Now, I want to be clear here, he wasn't calling her fat or being cruel. He was just making an observation about her eating habits, the kind of thing married couples talk about all the time. But she immediately started sobbing. I mean full-on ugly crying in front of everyone. The whole party just stopped. Everyone's staring, my son's trying to comfort her, and I'm thinking this is ridiculous. So I told her to stop crying. I said look, he wasn't trying to hurt your feelings, he's just concerned about your health, and you need to stop making everything into such a big drama. Well, that just made her cry even harder. Now apparently I'm the villain again for telling her to get control of herself. My son took her side, of course, and said I was being insensitive. But honestly, how are we supposed to function as a family if we can't have normal conversations without someone having a complete meltdown? I feel like I'm constantly walking on eggshells around her, and it's exhausting. Every family gathering becomes about managing her emotions instead of just enjoying each other's company. I understand that some people are more sensitive than others, but there has to be a line somewhere, right? At what point does being sensitive become being manipulative? Am I really the bad guy here for wanting to have normal family interactions without all the drama? Story 4. I threatened to return my kid's pet over bad grades. So I just threatened to take my 13-year-old son's hedgehog back to the breeder, and now I'm wondering if I went too far with this whole situation. My kid has been absolutely struggling in school lately, and I mean really struggling. I've tried everything I can think of to help him get back on track. Different study methods, tutoring, reward systems, consequences, you name it. Nothing seems to be working. This week alone, I got multiple emails from his teachers about rude and disrespectful behavior in class. He's not doing his schoolwork, he's being disruptive, and his grades are just tanking. The frustrating part is that I know he's smart. This isn't about ability, it's about attitude and effort. He keeps begging me to homeschool him, and I have this sneaking suspicion that he thinks I'm going to be an easier teacher than his current school. Boy, does he have another thing coming. If anything, I'd expect way more from him at home than his teachers do. I've actually been looking into jobs that would make homeschooling more feasible, but that's beside the point right now. A few months ago, when his grades were better and he was showing more responsibility, I agreed to let him get a pet hedgehog. He'd been wanting one forever, and I thought it might teach him some responsibility and give him something positive to focus on. He was so excited when we brought the little guy home, and for a while, things seemed to be going better. But now his behavior has gotten worse than ever, and I'm starting to think maybe the pet was a mistake. When I sat him down to talk about his recent school problems, I told him that if his grades and behavior don't improve, I'm going to have to take the hedgehog back to the breeder. I explained that having a pet is a privilege, not a right, and that privileges get taken away when you're not meeting your basic responsibilities. He completely lost it. Started crying and saying I was being unfair, that the hedgehog was the only good thing in his life, that I was being cruel for threatening to take away something he loves. Part of me felt terrible seeing him so upset, but another part of me thinks this might be the wake-up call he needs. I've tried everything else, and nothing has motivated him to take school seriously. Maybe the threat of losing something he really cares about will finally get through to him. My friends and family are split on this one. Some think I'm being too harsh and that pets shouldn't be used as bargaining chips. Others think I need to follow through with consequences and that this is exactly the kind of thing that might actually motivate him. The thing is, I don't really want to take the hedgehog away. I can see how much he loves that little animal, and it does bring him joy. But I also can't just let his school performance continue to slide without any real consequences. At 13, he's old enough to understand that actions have consequences, right? Am I being too harsh here, or is this the kind of tough love he needs? If you enjoyed these stories, drop a comment telling me which one was your favorite. And if you want more relaxed Reddit readings, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you never miss a video. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed these stories, like, comment and subscribe for more relaxed Reddit readings.